Hey there, thanks for watching. So I'm going to be real here for a second, and this topic has always kind of been like a thorn in my side because I agree with it in principle, but in reality it always ends up just completely demoralizing me. So I'm just going to be real and break it down for you. So that topic is sinking funds, which you probably already know if you clicked on this video. So a sinking fund, if you didn't know, is money that you set aside over a certain period of time to prepare for an expected expense. Something that's recurring that you know, like birthdays or Christmas or insurance or taxes or things like that. An expense that you know is coming up that you're going to save for coming up in the future that you're going to save for over a period of time. Now, in theory, this is super smart. Of course it is. You want to save for the future and be wise and anticipate that. It's brilliant. It's really a good idea. In practicality and actuality, like in reality, this pisses me off because and this is why, like I'm going to break it down why this makes me angry and frustrated with myself because I can't seem to get it right. So, and you may be wondering, like, why I'm talking about this now. It's like the holidays and it's exciting, but I'm thinking, wouldn't it be nice to have some extra money for the holidays? And I'm like, I don't have that because I hate sinking funds. So, not that I hate them, but they've always frustrated the crap out of me. And these are the three reasons why. Like, number one, I, at the moment, am just barely making it through on what I'm earning through my day job. Like, my housing costs are super high, and I just find that, and my utilities, while being normal for this area, are kind of high. So I'm making it through, and I have like just enough to meet right now. And it's really, I wouldn't say paycheck to paycheck, but pretty much paycheck to paycheck. And I find sinking funds demoralizing because I try to like add in that little bit and it like doesn't, my budget doesn't balance. So I find that super frustrating. And it also makes me think about, and not dwell on, but like think about these upcoming needs, which in itself is a great idea, but it makes me also think, it makes me freak out because I think I'm not going to have enough when the time comes, which is not true. And all of that comes to bear. Like I find that whenever I've tried to do a sinking fund in the past, I've like failed miserably and had to pull from that for current needs. And that's just like, that's like a triple threat storm of like frustration and irritation and like getting defeated and down on myself for not being able to save for the future. So, and so I've tried this in like my emergency fund. I take out a certain amount each month for my emergency fund, and invariably I'll end up having to dip into that emergency fund to cover expenses that come up. And I think that, so this is what I'm going to do to try to get over this fear or like phobia or like frustration or whatever. Number one, I think that as I just get better at doing a budget and like anticipating these upcoming expenses, I'll naturally know how to kind of adjust for them and learn that I can do without some things. This has just been, again, super frustrating because I'm like right on the edge of like just barely being able to make it. And it's like not easy or fun to anticipate these upcoming expenses that I can't meet right now. So I think, again, my first step is to be more consistent in doing a written budget and then reconciling that written budget at the end of the month. Like that is where I always fall short, is like pulling up the numbers and being like, okay, like this is where I didn't do so good and this is where I have to do better. And I think that it's all about, I know it's all about lifestyle, and that's something that I just am committed to being better about. So number two, I think once I have a more accurate and realistic picture of my expenses and I'm not sort of afraid to really look at them, I'll stop kind of going through life being afraid of these expenses and kind of come up with more creative ways to meet them. So let me kind of give you sort of a brief example of how I've gotten better at this over the years. So for the past however long since I've had this channel, I feel like I have had the same issue come up with my car. I drive, I pay in cash. I have not had a car note in the past 10 something years, 10 years. And I love it. Like I love not having a car payment. It's amazing. What that means for me right now is that I usually end up buying older model cars that need maintenance. And while this is routine maintenance, I end up putting it off until it's like until it actually comes up. For example, a battery goes and you can't start your car in the morning, or your tires blow and you end up needing like, roadside assistance. So these are things that, and your brakes are completely shot. these are things that I know and I can anticipate. And people have done some really great videos on like sinking funds for things like this, for routine car maintenance, which always seems to come up in the winter, probably because because the cold sucks the battery life right out. Um, and there are more hazardous road conditions for your tires. So that's why it tends to come up in the winter. And I've noticed this over the past 2 years. So this winter, I'm like, okay, here, genius point. You know these expenses are coming. Why don't you do something about this now so you're not in this terrible position down the road? So what I did, and it wasn't sinking fund at all, it was anticipating. So this month only, I was like, okay, let me work into the budget that I'm going to need new tires and I'm going to need a new battery. So when I was doing my budget for November, I built that in, and I thought, let me plan in advance, so I was able to find a better, more competitive price on the battery and really great price on the tires. So that is an example of sort of forward planning that worked out really well for me and allowed me to save some money. So what this meant was I didn't wait until my battery died before I replaced it, and I didn't wait until my tires blew or got flat or whatever and left me on the side of the road before I replaced them. So I'm thinking of it instead in terms of helping out future me and not really trying not to allow myself to get overwhelmed or defeated when I don't meet these sort of like unrealistic expectations of my financial situation right now. So I think that's like the second point, is to just be realistic. So to kind of be realistic about what you can address during the month. So this is like, and I'm going to try this. I know that the next big upcoming expense I have at the end of January is my insurance. I pay every 6 months. And I insure my car, my mom's car on the same policy. And that always seems to come up at the end of January after like the holidays, and it's kind of, everyone's kind of hurting a little bit, and this like $864 payment comes up because we live in New Jersey and it's super high to insure our cars. So what I'm going to do is to try to set aside a certain amount every week to try to offset that upcoming bill. And I know it's going to be tough already because I divided that amount by the number of weeks that are left, and it comes up to, it's like $108, and I'm like, that's a lot. Like, I don't have that extra in my budget right now. So, and like somehow I always manage to pay it, like some more or less, because in the past I've had to take from my emergency fund, and I don't want to do that. So I think that rather than getting frustrated and not doing anything, I am just going to try to do something, like put something aside. So maybe I don't have the whole amount, but I'll have half, and that'll be half more than, I had last time, or half more than nothing. So that's my plan, is to be realistic, to be thorough, to kind of to reconcile my budget, and to just be gentle with myself and not beat myself up or get frustrated by these unrealistic expectations. So that's kind of my wrap up, and kind of this is me being real and trying to come to terms with sinking funds and to be okay with the fact that not everything is going to work out perfectly, but sometimes you just use what you have, and using what you have is better than not doing anything. So that's kind of where I am at the moment. It's kind of like a real-time experiment, because we'll see how close I get to that $864 payment. And I'm also looking forward to doing an end of the month recap on this budget. We have, 6 more days left in the month. So that should be interesting. I don't think I've ever done a full month recap, and this is like a personal finance channel, and I don't think I've ever done a full recap. So I'm looking forward to doing that. So again, thank you so much for watching and being present as I try to work out what I really feel, knowing what I should do in my head and what I actually practically see working out in my life. Aren't always the same thing, but the goal is to make them sort of meet in the middle. So thanks again for watching, and I hope you will keep watching.